Okay, a little engine evaluation, just some areas to look at for you for the surveying class. So let's take a look. Engine's in tough shape. It's not in great shape. It's got a lot of corrosion. If you could run it, listening to it, do a compression test, obviously, if that's something you're going to do. The big aspects, again, of the fuel system. That's a really major, is to look at the electrical components, how corroded they are, how bad's the fuel lines. Pulleys, that's another big area I look at. I want to know what kind of shape the pulleys are in. Obviously, these need to be replaced. You're not cleaning them and painting them. You're just throwing them away and getting new ones. This engine's got a lot of corrosion on it, so it needs help. Okay, so this is a 5.7 old carbureted engine. And, it's got the flame arrestor, carburetor, same things. The big thing you want to look for is to make sure that that carburetor is a marine grade carburetor. You want to pull that flame arrestor off, look inside, make sure that fuel, goes down the throat of the carburetor, doesn't flood over. We've got that vent line, remember, that comes off of this hose, runs down. If we follow that hose down, it should go down to the fuel pump. And it should attach to that fitting on the fuel pump there, which it does. And that hose, you want to make sure that hose is intact. Nice thing about cell phones, you can pop down here and take a look and just see what it looks like. I'll zoom out a little bit. The fuel filter hadn't been changed in a while. It's pretty rotted on the bottom. So this boat has been sitting for a good number of years, 5 years or so. Again, I want to look at these fuel lines. Real careful, get your phone down in here, run your finger up here to make sure it's not all corroded. This one's a little punky on the very bottom, so that fuel line needs to be changed. That's something you want to definitely write up in your report. You can reach down, pull a little bit up and down on the circ pump to see if it has play. Hoses, hose clamps, obviously, these motor mounts are in dire shape. They're in rough shape. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to fail imminently, but it definitely has not had corrosion spray on it. The same thing is the terminals on the back of the alternator here. They're in rough shape. That alternator probably is going to need to be replaced. Manifolds, risers, the question here is, if you look at this, obviously the risers have been changed. They have been done. It's not an original riser, GLM product, okay? And, this, we don't know the age of it, but being the condition it's in, it probably in the report is going to fail at some point in the near future, just by the looks of it. Coming around the back side of the engine, look around the back for any leaks, especially on the valve covers. You want to look along the valve cover lines and make sure there's no leaks in here. You don't see any oil, traces of oil. The thermostat housing, okay, obviously has been replaced. The top cover looks reasonably new, but it doesn't look like it's been leaking all over this. This is an aluminum intake, okay, on a saltwater cooled engine, so that's something also to make in your report. They do last a little while in salt water, but they are designed for closed cooled systems. The other side, we come around, you have your engine harness. Right, your linkage is because the engine's out. We're going to come down here with a phone, look at the starter. That starter and the battery cables, you'd want to inspect that. Back here on the battery ground, you'd want to look at that battery ground cable. Up on the back of the distributor, those distributor wires. Okay, most distributor wires also are labeled, so you might be able to pull the age off of them. So if we kind of look at these, if we get lucky, we might be able to see an age on them. We might not. Merc Cruiser definitely has an age on them. These are, I don't say, they're Sierra, so they are a marine grade. But just so you get maybe you can hear the sound. Really dull. That's what we want to hear up here. And you can actually move it when you're hit, for instance. Up here, is solid. good, but the whole width of it. The whole transom is separated and hollow. Let's go look at another one. Okay, here's another one. The drives have been removed, but let's see what it sounds like. Get under here, and I want to just see what it sounds like up maybe by this platform where the bolts go through. Pretty solid back here. Over here by the trim tabs. There's a lot of gel coat cracks in this, but the fiberglass is still well adhered to the transom. So, you know, there may be not too many problems. A little hollow there. I'm going to look at a couple things here, right here. I want to listen to the sides of it. That one sounds pretty good. Let's see what this one sounds like. Uh-oh. Yeah, there's some delamination there. So this side's definitely... You can hear it get solid. So there's probably some issues. This one, big time difference. You can probably hear it. Another one is we've got these longitudinal frames that support the floor that run up through the vessel too. And I'm looking over here and that's done. So that's not good either. That just tells me this boat may be in much more dire straits than I thought. Here. Let's take a physical look and see what we can see. So not only is the hollow noise there, but you can also see the, you know, the delamination and the crack right here. So this is a really bad thing to see. If you can push your finger on there, you can see the fiberglass is actually cracked right up here. Flex point probably in the boat where the weight is of the engine, and maybe this is where she's been pounded, you know, over the decades. Maybe it's just not a great design the way this is laid out. Water got under the deck. Let's look at the other side. See what we got going over here. Know in a moment. Yep. Okay, so same thing we got. It looks almost as if that's where maybe a blend is. You know, they didn't overlap this very well. You can see in the back, you can actually see the wood through the stringer there. And that's an open area. A lot of big problems with that. And I mean, I can push this in with a hammer if I can show you. It's physically. Grab my light and we can see, yes, that does run fore and aft, and it looks like it may end at that bulkhead there. That may be a spot where it ends, but you can see where there's joints, and I can see there's a screw here, and you know, a little tapping with a hammer will tell me right away what's going on in here. All delaminated. Yeah. Let's check the other side. Also sounds delaminated. eliminated all the way through. Look for, you know, this galvanic corrosion issue, stray current corrosion in here, and you know, we can kind of look at the transom assembly here, and you know, there's a lot of pitting, but then you get down here to the pistons, right? And really, right here is what you really want to look for. Is you can see that aluminum is just falling apart around these pistons. So minimum, you know, one piston probably is shot. You can see the corrosion up there by that anode. There's been some galvanic corrosion here that's been going on too. Not good. The other thing too is, was this boat, the bottom, painted all the way up? And you can see that maybe they've painted over this with bottom paint. I don't know, but maybe that's why the galvanic corrosion's there going on. Okay, we got one more here to check. We're gonna check the back of this one. This is an old Bayliner, 90s, and just let's take a listen. Right? Pretty solid to me. Doesn't sound bad. This is gonna be hollow because this is just a hollow area up here. But that transom area, even up top, that sounds pretty solid. So this one's in good shape.